UFC 303, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. The return of Conor McGregor.
Until it wasn't.
Not so much. But we still got a good card, a good main event, good main card. We still got Alex Poatan Pereira saving a UFC pay-per-view again.
And I dare say, if you look at the main card of this fight, everybody other than Ian Machado Gary, that is the only person you're at risk of losing for this main card until Saturday. I think everybody else could fight. Gary has had some pull-out problems in his past.
I don't know. I'm skeptical on Dolidze just because this is like Anthony Smith's third. Like this particular fight has been shit. It's supposed to be two different guys, and Anthony Smith took on Ulberg, and then Ulberg dropped out.
Yeah, Anthony Smith wasn't even supposed to be here.
Yeah. So let's jump into it. We mentioned Conor McGregor was supposed to fight. Then we got the guy who's Conor McGregor fanboy, and that's Ian Machado Gary.
Are you an Ian hater? You a Gary hater?
Not for the reason everybody else hates him. I just don't like the dude.
You sipping that Gatorade?
That haterade.
Well, that would be Gary haterade.
No, I think Gatorade would be it'd be like the Kool-Aid of Ian Gary.
Oh, that's true.
But anyway, Ian Machado Gary, the future, the Irishman, 14-0.
He's 26.
7-0 in the UFC, 26, 3 KOs. There's a lot of things I like about him until he opens his mouth. But I respect what he's doing.
Are you see his background?
Yes.
Do you know anything about him?
And he's taken on UFC newcomer, but not MMA newcomer, MVP Michael Venom Page, 1-0 in the UFC, fresh off of a humbling of Kevin Holland.
He didn't humble Kevin Holland. He pissed him off. He did the older brother thing where you can't beat me up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tag you a bunch of times
and dance
stay on
around.
Right. He pissed him off and he won the fight whole-handedly. But let's talk more about this fight.
MVP 22-2 overall. As I said, 1-0 in the UFC. He was 17-2 in Bellator. Machado Gary just said undefeated. Machado Gary, he keeps getting better. He keeps facing better competition. His last fight against Jeff Neal.
Was it Neil Magny or Jeff Neal?
He fought both of them twice in a row. He beat Jeff Neal.
Yeah.
Split decision. It was probably his least. It was the best opponent he's probably faced, but his least impressive performance. But hey, you're undefeated.
But that comes with the territory.
Does come with the territory.
As the apex, as you climb.
But he was a guy. Harder. He was known. He's getting finishes as he's faced the higher competition. His last two fights, 2 straight decision wins. But hey, win's a win. And as we said, Michael Venom Page, fresh off the embarrassing of Kevin Holland. This guy, I put down in my notes, wizard on the feet.
Ooh, yeah.
He's a kickboxer. He's flashy. If you're not a fight fan, he's a guy you can watch and be a fan of.
Yeah, I agree. In Michael Page's first outing, his output was good. He dismantled Kevin Holland. It was an easy decision win. It proved that he's a smart fighter. He's very tactile. He does what he wants. This is one of the rare times where I'm going to say that the age will not play a huge factor. Like that weird stat where like 65% of the time the younger guy's winning when there's a significant age gap.
30-something%. And there's a little British versus Irish rivalry going on here too.
I will say, Michael Page, he's got 4.5-inch reach. That's going to help.
And he's by far the most skilled guy that Ian Machado Gary has faced.
Right. The reach will help. I think Michael Page is going to come in here with the same kind of attitude that he did against Kevin Holland. He's going to stay on the outside. He's just going to pepper him.
I agree. I think
he's not going to. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to not come in for a fight. He's going to come in and beat him up. I think Michael Venom Page is going to win probably by decision.
I think the same thing. I think he has the same game plan. I think Gary has a little more success than Kevin Holland. I think he's a little more talented as a striker. But I think Michael Venom Page shows he does what he does. He's going to dance around. He's going to frustrate Ian Gary. He's going to do what Ian Gary did to Neil Magny.
Yeah, where just pieced him up. Didn't knock him out or anything. Just beat him up the whole fight.
He's going to make it worse. He's like, you're going to wish I knocked you out.
Right.
I think Michael Venom Page, I got him. I agree with you, though. Decision win.
Let's go to the next one. Women's bantamweight division. Mayra Bueno Silva taking on Macy Chasson. This one was fun. Mayra Bueno Silva went. She fought for the title, lost to Raquel Pennington.
And
she lost her 3-fight unbeaten streak, which it was a 4-fight win streak, but then it was a no contest.
So now she hasn't won in 2 fights.
Popped a steroid test.
A record in the UFC: 5 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest.
Yeah.
Which I'm the believer if you get a no contest because of a drug, that should be a loss on your record. But
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is. And she's taking on Chasson 9-3, but 7-3 in the UFC. She has 2 KO wins. She has 2 sub wins. She's coming off of a first-round sub. Very impressive performance in March. I think Chasson, this is a big opportunity for her to show herself. And if she can somehow get a win here against Bueno Silva, she's in that title. They're always looking for title contenders.
Especially in the weird women's bantamweight division.
Yes.
There's not a lot of people fighting there. That's
so
why
you get a nice win over Mayra Bueno Silva, a girl that's just fought for the title?
Yeah.
This is a big opportunity for Chasson.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Chasson's also lost to Raquel Pennington, so that would be a rematch if Raquel's still holding the belt by the time she would get a title shot. But I think this is going to be a very good matchup. You got Chasson, who's taller, 5.5-inch reach advantage. They're both, striking pretty well.
And Bueno Silva, though, she's a beast on the ground. 7 out of her 10 wins by submission.
So
4 of them in the UFC.
And Chasson likes to wrestle. So I think Mayra Bueno Silva is going to interrupt Chasson's wrestling, which is going to make her not really be able to do as well on the feet as Chasson wants to do. I think the adeptness of the wrestling from Bueno Silva is going to help her win the fight, probably in decision fashion factor. I think she's going to win by decision.
I talked a lot about Chasson, big opportunity for her. Despite that, I believe Bueno Silva gets the win. And I think Bueno Silva, I disagree on the method of victory from you. I think Bueno Silva gets another submission win. She's going to get her 5th submission win overall. But Mayra Bueno Silva, my winner here.
All right, let's go to the next fight where we're going to talk about this man's family.
Lionheart,
Anthony Smith taking on Roman.
How is Anthony Smith only 35 years old? I thought he was 40.
I think everybody... Dude, I look at Brian Ortega, and I'm like, how is this man 33? I thought he was 40. But
Anthony Smith, 37 wins, 19 losses. He's 13-9 in the UFC. That's 6 KO wins, 5 sub wins. So he's a guy, he gets a lot of finishes.
And he
gets a lot of hate, but he gets finishes. Like, he's an exciting fighter.
You're right. And he's coming off a first-round Gilly finish.
As a huge underdog in Brazil against a Brazilian. It was a very impressive performance from Anthony Smith. We like to hate on him, as everybody does, but very impressive performance. And he's taking on a guy, short notice, Roman Dolidze, the Caucasian.
And somebody you're sipping the haterade on, or you're sipping the haterade on Anthony Smith, though, right?
I am, but
I got to tell you some things here.
I'm going
to switch. I'm going to change your mind. I
think I'm already changing my mind. I hype myself up on Anthony Smith.
So this is the reason why you're going to change your mind fully. This is Roman Dolidze's first fight at light heavyweight. So he's packing on another 20 pounds to fight. I think as soon as they get out of that first round, you're going to start seeing the short notice wear on Roman Dolidze. And Anthony Smith can bang.
Anthony Smith's going to be there at the end.
Yep. I think Anthony Smith is going to win this fight. He's currently listed as the underdog on the odds. I think that is an absolute steal if you can get it while he's anything close to even money.
Yeah.
Because I fully think Anthony Smith, who had no original business on this card, he's going to take this fight and absolutely run with it.
And Dolidze's come 2 losses in a row. As you said, short notice fight, up a weight class against a veteran like Anthony Smith. I have to agree with you. I think Anthony Smith gets the dub.
This is going to be a very good fight for Anthony Smith, I think, right here.
2 straight wins. He's moving. We all made fun of him when he said, I'm making another run at the title. Well, now he's if he wins this too, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, damn, he was
Lionheart.
joking, but he might
I
actually
talked myself in this little thing from an Anthony Smith hater. Now I'm a fan of Anthony Smith.
All right,
he gets the win.
For this next fight, do you think I could do the same?
No, because I think your hate for this man we're about to talk about, which I don't know why. I like the guy. I see why you hate him. I see why he gets hate, but
Brian Ortega might be the worst individual on the planet.
T-City, he comes in 16-3 overall, 1 no contest, 8 wins, 3 losses, 1 no contest in the UFC. But that is, he started like 6-0 in the UFC, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's trying,
And I'll never hate on the dude for his accolades. He's a great fighter.
Great submission artist.
I just love watching him get beat more than I love watching him win.
And he's taking on a dude that's moving up the rankings and is a beast in Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez, he's 24 wins, 6 losses in his career, 10 KOs, 12 submissions, 3-1 in the UFC with 3 straight wins. All 3 of them finishes, including UFC 300 first round win over Youssef.
Scream it at me.
He's electric. He has cool hair, bad tattoos. He's a fun guy. Everybody loves him. And he's taking on, as you said, he's taking on a guy that gets a lot of hate in Brian Ortega, T-City. Ortega, though, is coming off of a win against.
You did enough hyping up for Lopez there. You'll never make me like Ortega.
I mean, Ortega's coming off of a win over Yair.
He avenged his loss to Yair.
It was a tough loss. It was a TKO.
Right, but it was a shoulder injury, so it
counts as a loss. He came back. He beat Yair by submission.
So he avenged it.
He's trying to stay healthy. He's had a hard time staying healthy. I think he's had like 5 fights since 2018.
I think this is
He's very talented, though.
With how UFC 303 is shaping, there are 3 or 4 of the 5 fights on the main card that I think are like fight of the night potential. I think this is one of them. Like I said, as much as I hate on Brian Ortega, I'm not going to shit on the dude's accolades. He's a striking powerhouse. He's called T-City for a reason.
This is one I could see. I'm picking Diego Lopez to win. This is one I could see Diego Lopez piecing him up and then getting a little too cocky, and then T-City, as he's done a few times, catch you in a triangle and then submits you.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that happening, but I'm going to go with Diego Lopez by knockout.
I actually agree with you. I said that. I wouldn't be surprised, but I got Diego Lopez, too. I'm a big fan of Diego Lopez.
All right, so we're done with the co-main.
And speaking
of knockouts.
Speaking of knockouts and guys I'm a fan of.
I'm a fan of both of these guys.
I am.
Alex Poatan Pereira. Defending his title again against
Jiri Prochazka. Prochazka, in his last fight, if he wouldn't have got knocked out by Poatan the fight before, his fight against Ratchik, you would think he could not get knocked out. He got beat up, legs beat up, face beat up.
And he never showed.
And he just kept walking forward, and then he ends up beating the shit. He must punch so hard the way he...
Dude, he stood Ratchik up.
Ratchik just folded once Jiri started getting
he got the damage in, and then he folded him. But I want to say, if you go back and rewatch the Pereira versus Prochazka 1, right?
Yes.
Jiri lost because he held on to that deep takedown and caught the elbows until he just, went limp.
Yeah.
The fight was a good fight prior to that.
It was a good fight.
I know it wasn't, a bunch of fight, but I think that's why this rematch is made here, especially on short notice. You got Jiri.
And both guys are just so exciting.
Right. They're filling seats no matter what, especially in Vegas. Pereira versus Prochazka 2, it's kind of going to be like that fight where, if Jiri got the redo, is he going to continue to shoot the takedown? Or is he going to try to stay and take it on the feet?
7-1 in the UFC, 3-0 since he moved up to 205. Of course, he holds the belt. This will be his second title defense. He's 2 straight KOs at the heavier division 2. Jiri, as we said, he's only 4-1 in UFC, which is surprising. Right. All 4 of his wins by finish. 3 knockouts, 1 sub. The one thing that worries me about Jiri in this fight, his willingness to just eat shots.
Yep.
He does it every fight he's in.
He puts himself in serious danger. Not like punch drunk or anything, but he's walking through their shots to land his own.
And Poatan, that is a tough guy to just try to walk through his shots. I mean, he's shown it time and time again what he does to people.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a little bit longer of a fight than the first time. I think Jiri, as you said, I think he learns a little bit from the first fight they had, but I'm still taking Alex Poatan Pereira. I think he wins by knockout. I'm going to say 3rd round knockout this time, but I got Poatan.
I agree that Alex Pereira wins this fight for the second time, and I think you are right. I think it is going to be a longer fight. I think it probably will be a finish because both of these guys are
I don't see any of this fight going to even close to the scorecard.
Right. Between the 2 of them, we've only seen, 3 or 4 total decisions?
Yes. Jiri has 1 out of, 35
2, because you have a draw. So, yeah, you have 2 decisions between the 2 of them, or 4 decisions between the 2 of them. This isn't going to be a scorecard type of thing, especially through 5 rounds. I think Alex Pereira wins probably by 3rd or 4th round knockout.
So there we go. UFC 303. Check it out this weekend. And also check out W.GG. Promo code Split Decision for 10% off your order.
Yep. Check them out. Clean, jitterless energy.